Anand, a nice draw with black against Carlsen. Can you tell us more about the game?
Well, it was a very solid line, and I think as soon as I got out of the opening, I realized that black has very little chances to get a very interesting position. But I remembered that this position is quite dangerous if you play it inaccurately. It's very easy to be lulled into a false sense of security. So I tried to concentrate, swap the right pieces and make sure that always he couldn't get his king in front of my double pawns. And I think I did a reasonable job holding that.
Do you think this Bilbao point, the 3 for a win and 1 for a draw, is okay?
Well, somehow during the tournament it's better not to analyze these things. Well, it is what it is, and I'll just play and take it from there.
So having this Grand Slam at 2 places, don't you think it is having more pressure on the players?
Well, it depends. I mean, when I had these tournaments in Mexico, I quite enjoyed it. So I don't think the travel itself is a problem. It's simply a question of whether you play well or not.
Yes. But of course, obviously, the active black pieces can only, compensate to a draw in a way, because I think as long as white doesn't blunder, he can never lose. Yes. Well, for white to try to win, I have to try and exchange the right pieces. For example, if black managed to exchange the knight and there's a bishop ending, it's almost always like a draw, like Misha mentioned in the game. Kaspar Kramnik, even though black still has a double pawn and an active king there. Yeah, I think in general, although white has a slight advantage, it's much closer to a draw than to a serious advantage.
I had a very good position, a very promising position from the opening. I think he wanted to keep pieces on the board, but I think it is a dubious line. And I had a very interesting position, but somehow, he managed to slowly escape and exchange pieces. And in the end, it was just a very drawish position. So.
What do you think of this Bilbao rule of 3 for a win and 1 for a draw?
Well, I think it's not so fair, but I think it's very spectacular for the public. So, in general, I like it. In general, I don't think it's such a bad idea. But of course, I don't think for the players it's so fair. Objectively, I think it's kind of wrong. But at the other side, the sponsors are the ones who are deciding this, not the players. So if the sponsors are happy, everything is okay.
Actually, the quality of the game, I think, was quite poor because
actually it was very complicated game, very unclear game, and I was just much more lucky in mutual time trouble.
You have now a very convincing lead in the tournament. What do you expect from it?
Okay, I expect so I will be able to show all of my best in chess in the rest games.
Lentex, can you summarize these 3 games of today?
Ivanchuk and Nakamura spent a lot of time on the opening, and that time were very necessary later on, when Ivanchuk started a very strong attack. And then he was very successful, among other reasons, because Nakamura had not time enough to find out the most precise defense. So it's a great victory of Ivanchuk. He is now the clear favorite, because it is clear that Vasily Ivanchuk is a genius. He deserves to be called a genius, and he is a genius in a very good shape right now. About the other games, Vallejo Aronian, it was also very interesting. Vallejo got a clear advantage in the opening, development advantage, but he was not so precise. It was in one moment when he played Queen G5, it was, I think, much better to play Queen C3. It's apparently a very simple move, but it's a very effective one. And I think that he could achieve a great advantage in that case. In the game, Aronian defended very precisely, and then he was able to equalize, and then it was a clear draw. And regarding the duel of the day, Carlsen Anand, it was really a very high-level chess. It was also a very instructive game because Anand had a bad pawn structure, but a very good pieces activity. So I recommend all the chess amateurs to study that game carefully because Vichy demonstrated that a big activity of the pieces can equilibrate, can neutralize a bad pawn structure. It's really very instructive. Of course, Carlsen was a little bit better all the time, but not enough to win the game.